Welcome to another video for chemistry. In this video we're going to be discussing gas laws as shown in PV equals nRT. This is the ideal gas law. Okay, PV equals nRT. The P stands for pressure, the V for volume, N for moles, the number of moles, R is a proportionality constant, so this number remains the same throughout the entire time. And then your temperature, which will be in kelvins. That will be our standard temperature. Now, these are the three gas laws that you need to have memorized. And what I want to show you in this video is that you don't actually have to memorize each one of these individually. You can just memorize your ideal gas law, PV equals nRT. And by using the ideal gas law, you can actually derive these other equations. Perhaps maybe you just have to memorize the names: Boyles Law, Charles' Law, and Avogadro's Law. Okay, if you remember Avogadro was responsible for discovering moles. Okay, the concept of moles, so you know that the N will be involved. Okay, and with Boyles' Law, we have V, volume is proportional to is inverse proportionally to the pressure, and then Charles there's a direct proportionality of volume to temperature. So let's go ahead and dive in with this concept so you can see this at work. So let's start off with Boyle's Law. Actually, let me take a step back. If you look at the three equations, one of the things that they all have in common, on the left side, they all involve volume. Okay, they all involve volume. So look at the left side of each of these equations and you'll see that there's V, volume. All right, so Boyle's Law. Volume is proportional or inversely proportional to your pressure. Okay? So that means we're involving these two terms, and the other terms are just constant, so we don't have to actually worry about them. Now, they will be in your problems, but or in some problems they might be, but if they're not, then you can just assume that they're constant. They're not going to change. So you'll notice that you have in each of the three equations, you had volume on one side and then the other term on the opposite side. So you want pressure on the opposite side. And in order to do that, you just got to do a little arithmetic and divide by P. Divide by P on both sides. Whatever you do to one side of the equation, remember you do to the other. So that will then help us to isolate volume. And there you go. Now you have your Boyle's Law equation. V is inversely proportional to 1 over P. Okay? All right, let's look at Charles' Law. Charles' Law, once again, you have volume on the left, directly proportional to temperature. So that means your volume, that means your pressure, your number of moles, and of course your proportionality constant will always be constant. So we don't actually need those terms. We only need our V and T, and that's it. Okay, so PV equals nRT is the only equation. My ideal gas law is the only equation that I need when I'm trying to derive my other individual equations. And then Avogadro's law, like I mentioned before, Avogadro is responsible for moles, and the N variable is responsible for moles. So those are the only two that I need. Volume is proportional to moles. Okay, so I hope this helped. Your ideal gas law, PV equals nRT, is the only equation you really need to memorize. And if you understand what's happening with the ideal gas law, then you can use that ideal gas law to derive Boyle's Law, Charles' Law, and Avogadro's Law. Okay, I hope that helped, and good luck in your study.